very interestingly, my training is in development, and I got into corporate almost accidentally when the University of Venda established a company which is supposed to be the commercial wing of the university. As you would know, universities are not allowed to make profit because they're a public entity, they are funded by the state. However, funding is very, very small now, and it's important for universities to find a way to generate revenue. And they thought that the best way to do it would be for them to come up with a private company, which is UIGC now. And I think we are fulfilling our mandate, and I'm happy to be the one associated with the success of the company.
What are the key areas you look at it with this new company?
Well, our key focus areas are one in agriculture, and mining is another one. Financial services also an area. We did not do away completely with the training. So our training is still on the short learning programs where we are focusing on the less than 120 credits. So in mining, we are again doing very well there. We are now owning a commercial farm rather. Let's start with agriculture. We are owning a commercial agriculture now. We are producing bananas, macadamia nuts, and avocados, and our farm is doing very well, considering that we are about 18 months in the industry. I think we're doing very well. And mining, we are still trying to get our feelers all over the place. We do have offers on the table from the mining houses which are willing to partner with us. So we are carefully looking into those offers and see where we're going to get the maximum value for the investing. Financial services, we invest our money in a number of other areas, and we are happy with that as well. Training, we have more than 60 short learning programs, and we think our programs are good because they're tailor-made to the need of the client. If a client comes across and say, we need project management, we tailor-made project management, you come, you need finance, finance managers, we do it for you. So from the 50 that we have, local government is still our biggest client. We have a wide variety of programs on local government, and of course it's relevant because we are in rural areas, so to speak.
And it must be great because it provides the learners an opportunity to get a practical experience while they're still at university, I presume.
Well, exactly, but our target are those who are not at the university, are those who are from the communities and those who work for the municipalities. The university gives us the leverage just to expose our learners or students into that tertiary environment. However, our target are local municipalities, people who are in the industry, people who are in business. They come there to train them on a variety of programs, including finance managers. We train on project management, on local government, local economic development, so and mining industry. We have training in those programs. So we just leverage on the university. However, we are purely independent. Our relationship with the university is purely from a shareholder point of view. The university is a shareholder of the entity. The entity reports to its own board. It has its own governance. So the only time we'll get into contact with the university at the end of the financial year, when we will be saying to them, this is how much we're bringing to you, which will be part of our profit. Then we share the profit with the university.
Would you say this is the evolution of education, the sort of the smaller, shorter courses, specialized?
I think it is. I think the universities in South Africa in particular, they've come to realize that it's going to be very difficult for them to survive with all these fees must fall and all of these things. There's no way in which a university can survive purely from the grant that comes from government. So a university has to come up with creative means of generating revenue. We, from UIGC side, we have given the university in the 2016 financial year 8 million. The whole of that 8 million was for them to fund students who are unable to pay for their tuition. And I think the universities in the country now in South Africa, they are realizing that if they are to get anywhere, that's the way to go. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 5 years, all universities in the country would have a commercial wing. I do know that predominantly white universities, they still have those, but in the predominantly black universities, this is a new terrain altogether. But I wouldn't be surprised that in the next 5 years, almost each and every investment in the country would have a company which is their commercial wing, and they'll be owning and investing in all sorts of things, in the mines, in the petroleum, in agriculture, you name them. I think investors are going there.
And is there a fine balance between the will of the business and still keeping it sort of for the people, so to speak?
But the balance is there. I think what is key would be the balance between a investing management and the company governance, because you need the two entities to have some kind of common understanding in terms of where this is going. The role of the mandate of the investee is to provide training and research, and of course they'll do community engagement. But the role of a corporate company, a commercial company for that matter, is to generate profit, is to check you at the bottom line, to make sure that you invest, to make sure that at the end of the year you declare some dividends to the shareholder, which is the investor. So that understanding is very key. And for that to happen, the investor would have to, of course, to step aside and allow the company to operate purely as a private corporate company that would interact with the investee during the general meeting, where the shareholder would come and say, this is what we want for our company, but then the board of the company will say, this is where we are going. So that interface is very key. I think also communities are beginning to understand that it's important to partner with the investee and also to partner with the commercial wing of the investee. Because these two entities, even though they are separate, there is a lot of synergy. If we provide a training, for example, our training will still have to go through the investee channel for accreditation. When you get into venture capital, so that venture will go straight to the board. So the investor sometimes will be surprised to hear, oh, UIGC have invested 100 million in this. So that balance is very, very critical. And the two entities would have to be reminded from time to time to say, look, we are still for you. We are not running away, and we are not going astray. The money we are making is for you as an investor, and the investor must understand that they must also see value in the company. It can't be correct that the investor will always be injecting money. So if they do that, then there's no point. One of the biggest projects that we are getting into now is where we are saying to the investor, we want to, as a commercial wing, we want to build residence for the investor. We want to build 2,000 beds for the investor. And when we do that, we are saying to the investor, the 2,000 beds, it will be the project of UIGC. It's a commercial project. We get revenue from students coming in, staying in our residence. But you as an investor, you get your return, because that building is on your land. That building at the end of this contract, it's going to be a building. UIGC will manage it for as long as the building is there. And UIGC as a private company will manage the loan. So you take away the risk from the investor into a private company, which is exciting. It's exciting, very exciting. Yeah.
Exactly. So the fees must fall debate. Where exactly? I'm sure the fees need to come down, but where's that balance? And obviously the private enterprise is help in that regard.
Well, in our case, the fees must fall debate, relevant as it may, we approached it differently. Instead, you would know that when they said fees must fall, part of the bargain that comes with that was the insourcing debate. And we said, as we had a discussion with our shareholder, the investor, to say, instead of you insourcing people, staff members and everybody else into your payroll, let's bring them to the company payroll, which is owned by you. Because at the end of the day, our view is that as long as you are able to address social justice, everybody will be happy. The problem will be if there's a huge disparity between salaries of those who are working for the private entity of the investor and those who are working on the investor side. So we then agreed to say, let's see which of the components of the investor we can outsource, so to speak, to the investor commercial wing. Already, we are managing the security of the investor, of the entire investor. We have staffing profile of more than 180 who are just security personnel. And it's very interesting. We absorb them. They are no longer through the private company of the investor. It's no longer the outsourcing that you would have known about. So they come to us. We structure the whole salary. and say our focus is to ensure that we uphold social justice. Let's make sure that people get above the sector determination, which is there, and then we give them other benefits. You get a medical aid, you get your pension, you get your life cover, so they're happy. If we were to go into a private company, there's no such. If you go to the university, if they'd absorbed them, their salary bill would have gone up by 11 million per month. Now, there's no company that can increase the salary bill by 11 million per month and survive in the next 5 years. So definitely the investor is going to close down in the next, in our calculations, the investors are going to survive the next 8 years. So we think fees must fall in a way. They open up opportunities for universities to see things differently. And our view is that the different way you can look at it would be to make sure that your commercial way is empowered, is capacitated, and is able to assist. Because at the end of the day, it's making sure that everybody has access to education. Now, if we have given them 8 million last year, and this year we'll give them more than 14 million, and then we'll say to them, this is the money that we're giving, so this money must be used strictly for those learners who cannot afford their tuition fees. So in a way, we are assisting the NSFAS, we are assisting the university, so at the end of the day, everybody has access to education, which is the bottom line as far as fees must fall is concerned. So we think we are playing our part.
What are the checks and balances to make sure that 40 million reaches the students?
Well, we put them, when we give them the money, we say investors are giving the money, but this money is dedicated to bursaries. So instead of us just saying here is 8 million, here is 40 million, we say give us the names of those learners who are in need. Then you give us the number of learners who are in need, we have this money, we will compare the money against a student. So when the money goes to a university account, already it's allocated to a student. So the university would not use it for any other purpose, but to pay for this student. And then we say to the student, you should come and check with us if your money has been paid before you go to the university. And for us, we think there's a balance and checks that you need. And once we have that, we know our money is going to put for good use. Nobody will say, but this side, I thought I was given a bursary, but when I go to the university side, the money is not there. Or the university will say, but you gave us the money, but the money was not adequate. We say, no, we give you the money, and the money is strictly for this. There shall come a time when we will say to the university, we are giving you money for building a soccer field, for example, building a sports hall, building this or that. Again, we will ring fence that money so that it doesn't get into the bigger pool of the university where it can easily be swallowed into so many other things. Yeah. So that's how we put our checks and balances.
This sounds like it almost be according to the macro economy of South Africa, these sort of ideals.
Yes, it is. It is. Because if you look at it, we always say, and this has been what is informing our practice, to say let us think nationally, but start locally. And when you do that, you will realize that even other companies, your sitters, they then come forward to say, we want to partner with UIGC because we think what UIGC is doing will assist us at a micro and eventually at a macro level. And we think that's the way to go. The economy of the country will be supported when we start by supporting small people on the ground. And all this will build up into a broader economic development that we are all looking for. Similarly, we argue that when you, and this is the argument we're making here, if you are in the mining industry or you are in agriculture space, which is where we are, it is, in our view, appropriate that you should also be training your people to be relevant to those sectors. If you are training, we have programs that are dedicated to agriculture. We are now going to have programs dedicated to mining because we want to train people for the local industry. The thinking that you can train people and then they'll go get jobs somewhere else and we don't know where, in our view, we think is misleading. But if we support the industries that locally, we go and train for agriculture because it's in our space. We train for mining. Limpopo is rich in mining, but then it's incorrect that Limpopo will go and hire people who are coming from all over the place because our local people in Limpopo are not suitably trained for these sectors. So we are saying, let us train for sector specific. If somebody after training, upon completion, they will go and work in the Western Cape, they go and work anywhere else, it's okay. But at least we would have known that this person is trained to do agriculture here in Limpopo, agriculture where agriculture is. So we think we need to be correct, we need to be relevant to the industries and support the agriculture, support mining. We cannot be succeeding when our mines, the minister said yesterday, that we need to be relevant. We cannot be relevant when we cannot appoint locally. And the best way to appoint locally is that we need to have that synergy between the training space and the employer. We are arguing for that. We think that's the best way to look at it. We think if we do all of this, we will see economy, we'll see employment just growing without people making any other hard effort. We think that's the way to go. Yeah.
Internships is another big thing. How can you bridge that gap between schooling, training, and getting a job?
So the same approach. Our view is that at UIGC, we have a high intake of interns, because our view is that we need to prepare school leavers. We need to give them the required experience, and they need to, when they come to UIGC, our view is that we sort of prepare them to the outside world. If somebody comes with a BCom accounting, for example, we will place them in our finance division. If they come with agricultural qualification, we place them where they are relevant. HR, so on and so forth. We place them where they are relevant. We think that if we prepare these school leavers with experience, then we make them even more relevant for job opportunities outside. And I can tell you that at UIGC, we also look at internship as our way of growing our own timber. We are in a crusade of appointing people who have served in our internship, because we don't think that companies should prepare people for employment for other people. You should prepare people for employment for your own company. So we do that. We take them through all this, and in the next 3 or so weeks, we'll be appointing a lot of them, that those who were serving as interns in the last 12 months, and we are bringing them back now as permanent employees, because it is our view that when you train these people, let us not only train them with a view that they'll go get a job somewhere else. They should also assist companies to restructure, companies to look into them. Of course, companies will look at the bottom line. We all do that. But then as we do that, we should also see value in people that we have through internship programs. And we speak to SITAs and say, SITA, help us to have these people. They come to us for 12 months, and then after 12 months, we'll see what will go with them. And internship for us is a very, very good program. And that program is assisting us to grow our own timber, as it were. And we're happy. We think going forward, in the next 50 years, these people will come back and say, we got the first opportunity. Our breakthrough was when we were doing internship at UIGC, and now we got employed as a clerk at UIGC, financial admin clerk or a finance clerk at UIGC, and now we are the CEO of this company. We think that's where they should go. We think that's the best way to look at it. Yeah.
Absolutely, and the sort of investment into the UIGC, who are some of the major people that are putting their money where their mouth is?
Well, the shareholder, which is the investor, is still the main. Most of our capital comes from our own reserves. So what happens is that each year we would say have a profit of about 25 million, and that's the same money that we put aside for our investments. So we have not partnered with big companies outside, except the ones that we're exploring in the mining, which are coming with projects that are above 300 million. The one that is coming for residents is going to be at the region of 350 million. I won't disclose the partner because we have not signed on the dotted line, but that's where we are going. We have companies that are interested in partnering with us for money above 300 million. Anything less than 100 million, we are funding it ourselves.
And where are the key areas where skills are needed within mining?
Well, I think artisans. We in the country, South Africa now, we have not trained enough artisans as we should have. And sometimes we blame mines when they say they don't have people. Then they say no, but they went to neighboring states and they bring people. We don't look at what skills are they bringing. Our view is that we need to improve on the artisan space. That is one area where it sounds more vocational, but it's the one area that I think we need to put more emphasis on. And at UIGC, we are taking that on. We think we need artisans, we need electrical engineers, we need mechanical engineers at a lower level. It's okay to have people with engineering degrees and BTech and MTech and all of that. But in the mining today, those are not the people that are needed. The people that are needed are the ones who are going to work on the job, and those are your artisans. Those are people who have qualifications of less than 180 credits. Those are the people that we need to work on the ground.
You look in America and Europe, those guys get paid well.
The problem in our country was that at some point there was a notion that if you do manual hard labor work, then that's low class. You need to go to school to do office admin work, so to speak. If you're not a medical doctor, a nurse, teacher, then you're not well educated. I think that has to be changed, because the people who are needed in our economy today are those artisans, are those people who will do the actual work. And the people who will go on the ground and dirty their hands. Those who are signing, it's okay. We don't need a lot of them. I think we have enough already of those. We need people who will go and dirty their hands, and we don't have them. And I think if you look at the mining industry now and the salaries, we were told yesterday here in the Mining Indaba that the salaries are, of course, leveling up now. If you look at your artisans going up, the gap is coming lower, which is a good thing, because somebody shouldn't say, if I'm an artisan, I want to be able to support my family, because we need a lot of those. This country needs so many artisans that training providers are not able to provide in the next 5 years.
And with technology growing every day, how do you make sure you stay up to date with the developments?
Technology is relevant. Technology is important. I think in our country for the next 20 years, people tell us, even here in the Mining Indaba, in terms of technology, we are still way behind. So we will still need people to do the actual work for a very, very long time to come. Technology is important. Technology would assist us to improve on where we are. I don't see technology as a competition to our labor force. I see technology as complementing our labor force. I see technology as enabling us to improve on our labor force. In our commercial farm that we are owning as UIGC, we are doing what we call smart farming. Now, smart farming will tell you, when you get into our farm, the general manager will tell you which part of the farm would require irrigation, which part of the farm would need harvesting, when, which part of the farm would need more attention, more fertilizers. Now, that's technology for you. But when you look at that, it is not taking away the labor force that we have. We are not saying because now we know when to irrigate, where, because we know when to harvest in terms of technology, which area would require less irrigation, therefore we cut on our labor force. The labor force is still the same, but we know things better now. We know things differently. We know how to maximize on our farm, and that's what technology would assist you to do. The technology would, at this stage for us, is not helping us necessarily to reduce our labor force. It's helping us to maximize on our production. When we measure production in terms of per capita and also in terms of a labor force, we are improving. But that's what technology is doing for us. So we welcome technology. And
some of the success stories to come out of the agricultural farm, there must be some students coming out of there that are...
Yes. We started with this farm. When we took over, it was almost unutilized. The farm was at the verge of collapsing. Now, the success stories from this, one is that we have now turned that farm into a research hub, so to speak. We have students who are doing degrees in engineering, agricultural engineering, who are doing agricultural economics, who are doing any other farming-related programs. They come to do their work-related work experience. So they come there. So that's one good achievement that we think it's a take-home for us. Number two, we have turned over the farm. Now, when we got here, the farm was at a loss of about 1.8 million per month. Yeah, 1.8 million because the salary bill was just way too high, and there was no production at all. Now, 18 months down the line, we are comfortable. We are making good profit. The shareholders are happy. The board is happy. And we are excited. We have a smart farm and the first of its kind in Limpopo. So we are happy. We are partnering with other stakeholders, international bodies on how to improve the smart farm. So we are happy. And it's one thing, if you come to UIGC, University of Venda, the one thing they will tell you is, have you been to our farm? Everybody's proud of this farm now because it's a smart farm, it's a commercial farm, it's viable, we are making profit. And the IT is assisting us. Everybody's happy. The community, which we are partnering with, they are very happy. Their salaries are intact. Their benefits, they are so excited. We are producing bananas, macadamia nuts, and avocados. We are even exporting. So we are happy.
Would you ever think of going into politics? You sound like you could be a good president.
Nah. I'd rather stay with my day job. You don't become a doctor and then you branch politics. It's a problem,
Absolutely. And if you look in your crystal ball in 30 years' time, what's the university of 30 years' time?
Now, I'm on a contract, 5-year contract, as an executive. But I can tell you, when I look at a crystal ball, as you say, I see this university through this UIGC, one of the richest universities in the country. I think this is going to be one of the universities where they will be able to say, we are enrolling 20,000 students, half of those will give them free access to education. I think that's where we are going. We are looking at a situation where the university will be able to invest in big projects where the return will be big as well. If the university, I wouldn't be surprised that in the next 30 years, the university will have a net profit, and of course it's profit after tax, of not less than 200 million. And this is why I see it in the next 30 years. And with that, it wouldn't stop the university to say, come to us, we'll give you free education. The university will be able to do that. I think we are on the right track. I think where we are going, we will really make it. We have the support of the board, the University Council, and the support of South Africa. And I think South Africa is supporting us. The sector education and training authorities, they are giving us the huge support. We just signed a contract yesterday with the construction sector. Another huge money, So I think we in the next 30 years, you will tell me that University of Venda will be taking students for free. And half of them, I can tell you that. Yeah.
Amen to that. Thanks for your time,
Thank you
Doctor.
very much.